For NYup.com and Syracuse.com, I am Matt Parrino, and I'm joined today by Greg Cosell of NFL Films. He's going to talk to us a bit today about Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills quarterback who's had a bit of success since coming back from injury. And Greg, obviously, first of all, I want to take his last two games specifically, Josh's last two games, obviously doing a great deal of damage with his legs, 99 yards and then 135 yards in consecutive games, both franchise records, but he's made a few plays with his arm as well. What's been your breakdown of his performance in these last 2 weeks?
I would say that he's been a little bit better the last 2 weeks than he was prior to the injury. I still think he's got a ways to go, which I think is pretty obvious. But the thing about Josh Allen is he's very gifted just in terms of his size, his arm strength, and his movement. Those are the three things that stand out when you look at Josh Allen. Now, those are sort of general things. Now you have to get to the nuances and the subtleties of playing the position. And one of the things that he's still working on, and we'll find out as he progresses, is his ability to see the field and to be able to understand where he needs to throw the ball if the primary read is not immediately there. And now we're talking field vision, and we're talking about what I call the ability to eliminate and to isolate. You need to be able to eliminate what's not there and then isolate what is there within the timing of the pass drop and the route concept. And that's an area in which he needs to improve. And that will take time. It all comes down to whether he sees things. And some think field vision is something that can be taught, and others think it's kind of what it is. So we'll find that out. But his ability to make certain kinds of throws, the touchdown, for instance, he threw to Zay Jones, not the first one. The first one is just one of those special talent plays, which he's capable of that. But I'm talking about the second one, where he sat in the pocket, waited for the route concept to develop, and then was able to drive the ball with the velocity to Jones. I believe it was a dig route. Yes, it was dagger, which is a combination route with a go route and a dig right underneath it. That was a big time NFL throw.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask you specifically because there were so many question marks around Allen coming out with his ability to read defenses. Is this something where playing at Wyoming, maybe with a lesser, talent level at that level of college football, it's going to take some more time at this level, at the NFL level, to see, the huge jump in talent that he's looking at? Is that something that you've seen progression with since his first 5 starts?
Well, I don't think it's a function of where he played, because Carson Wentz did not have a problem with that, and he came from North Dakota State. So it could be a function of any number of things. It could be a function of how he was coached, how the material was presented to him. It could just be a function of how he sees the game innately. So it could be a function of any number of things. But at the end of the day, in the NFL, you need to be able to see the field. The better way to put it is you need to be able to understand your route concepts and combinations within the context of the defense and work through that in a very brief amount of time. You need to be able to work through that within the timing of the drop, whether it's a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, or a deeper drop, and then you need to be able to get the ball to the right receiver based on your sense of what the coverage is. So that's something that takes time. Most coaches actually believe that the full development of a quarterback is a 3 or 4 year process. Now, different quarterbacks start at different points. So some might take a shorter amount of time, some could take a longer amount of time, but that's a process. And the process can be slowed down with quarterbacks who have great running ability. So we get excited about Josh Allen rushing 9 times for 135 yards, but in some ways that hinders his ability to learn the subtleties and the nuances of playing quarterback.
Mm-hmm. So with the strong plays, you talked about the Zay Jones, touched on that second one, where he is showing some progression and development with his ability to throw from the pocket. Is that maybe a case where you have a young rookie quarterback having success as he goes through the season, maybe a case to be made for a guy playing in his first season as opposed to waiting a full year, a la a Patrick Mahomes, even if the talent isn't great around him?
I mean, there's different points of view on that. Some people believe it's better to sit, and some people believe it's better to play. It all depends on the particular individual and the given situation. I mean, there are still snaps in which he clearly does not know what he's looking at. The tape shows that. It all depends then on your point of view. Do you learn by playing? Do you learn by sitting? Most quarterbacks will tell you they'd rather be playing, obviously. Maybe all coaches wouldn't say that, but all quarterbacks would say that. I think it's really important for him to get these reps and this experience through the last now 4 weeks of the season so he can put together a 6-game stretch of playing every snap and just going through and getting the experience that is absolutely required, because he just needs to keep seeing things. He needs to see more and more and more.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Sean McDermott today, actually, it's funny that I'm talking to you today. I asked him, now that you had all this time with Josh Allen, since the draft process, you guys spent a lot of time, looking into him, studying him. What's jumped out at you the most? And he said, I didn't realize how much of a competitor he was going to be. And that's something that his teammates echo. How important is that mentality? I mean, a guy that's literally all he thinks about all day long is winning football games.
Well, I mean, obviously that's important for a quarterback. It's important in any position. That's hard to quantify. You have to be around people to know that. And obviously I'm not around Josh Allen. I've met Josh Allen, and he's a really impressive kid, and he's got a great personality, but I'm not around him on a daily basis. So I can't speak to how that plays out in the locker room, on the practice field. Being competitive is wonderful. No one would argue that. But that in and of itself will not make him a great quarterback, because a quarterback is a subtle it's really a subtle, nuanced, disciplined craft position. It's not a let's roll the ball out and go make a play position. And he's at the stage where he's still in the go make a play part of his career. And he needs to advance beyond that, because that'll take you to a certain point. It'll get you on the highlight shows because he'll make some spectacular plays. We discussed the first Jones touchdown. He made that great throw out of his own end zone this week, the sideline throw. I think that might have been to Zay Jones as well. I can't remember. So he can make those kinds of plays, and he'll make them. That's what got people excited when he was at Wyoming, his ability to make those off-schedule plays. And certainly he can run. He's remarkably athletic for a man his size. But that won't make him great.
Mm-hmm. Greg, thank you so much for joining me. Before I let you get out of here, we talked about his last 2 games and the progression. Where do you has your idea of his ceiling changed at all with his last 2 games, or in general, what do you think Josh Allen can be in this league, given that he continues to develop?
Well, the key thing for him is going to be able to make throws that are viewed as routine in the NFL, because you can't live on big plays. You can't live on quote-unquote special plays. Quarterbacks become great making routine plays. Quarterbacks, I think back to quarterbacks, and maybe this is before your time, Matt, but you obviously know who he is. Quarterbacks like Troy Aikman, who when it was 3rd and 7 would hit his tight end Jay Novacek for 8 yards and get a first down. You're not going to see those plays on SportsCenter. Those are the kinds of plays that quarterbacks have to make. Tom Brady, I know we're talking about arguably the greatest of all time, but you saw a great example this past week with a great game plan where they pretty much kept throwing 5-yard passes, 6-yard passes, 7-yard passes. Those are the kinds of things that you have to be able to do. The spectacular plays, he can make those plays, Josh Allen, but he has to be able to make the routine plays, because at the end of the day, you can be 100 things, Matt, but if you can't throw the ball where you want to consistently, then you don't have anything as a quarterback.
That was Greg Cosell from NFL Films helping us break down Josh Allen, who takes on the New York Jets and fellow rookie Sam Darnold this Sunday. Guys, for all of your Buffalo Bills content, keep it locked on to NYup.com and Syracuse.com.